Well, here we are back into it, always covering the big stories for you. AI, a big story, of course. Rare earth elements, incredibly important to that. We're making huge progress. Graphite Creek, one of the places in the Arctic and Alaska, we found tremendous amounts of graphite, which is incredibly important, plus rare earth elements. My next guest, James Morrone, is a policy analyst at Americans for Prosperity and primarily focuses on energy policy. Thank you for being here.
Hey, good morning, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, James. Look, so you've got Graphite Creek in Alaska, and then the other location where they're punching through that 211-mile road just north of there a ways. But this location near Nome is critical. And this is the United States saying, wait a second, we've allowed ourselves for 25 years or more to allow China to take the lead and dominate the markets. That has to stop. Refinement is the key. China has 90% of the refining ability and a majority of the rare earth elements in its possession. We have not the luxury to sit by and let China continue to dominate, do we?
No, we really don't. You cannot give a competitive rival like China that leg up, especially when these materials are so critical for things like F-35 fighter jets, Tomahawk missiles, and just your basic everyday smartphone, uh, smart technologies, even for your green tech technologies like that. It just lets them control the supply chain and create that choke point. And we really can't let that happen strategically. And on top of that, the only way we can fix that is through a smart permitting reform that
Well,
because
and that's true across the board, James. It's not just in rare earths. Look, America is the cleanest, greenest, industrialized nation on earth. We have regulations for a reason. Protect the water, protect the land, protect the air. China and India don't concern themselves so much with such things. They just go straight forward and get what they need. But the permitting process is also preventing enough houses to be built in America. It's also creating problems with putting in anything in this country. You want to build anything? I mean, normally a mine, this is what's so remarkable about Graphite Creek. They're on a fast track to get their permit in 13 months. And I thought, man, that's a long time. Until I read that the average time is 10 to 15 years to get a permit for a mine in this country. How is that even possible?
Oh, man, I could get into it. So it's basically a combination of federal permitting process, which is going through several federal agencies, depending on the type of project it is, whether it's housing or energy. For my focus, it's typically energy projects, but with mining, you have to go through federal agencies, you have to go through then the state agencies, then it opens up, then the agencies just take time. There's no predictive schedule they have to follow. They can get to it whenever they feel for it, essentially. And so, what a lot of the legislation, a lot of reforms out there are trying to, such as the Speed Act, it's trying to create a more predictive process for these industries to understand so they know what they're spending on the front end, how long it's going to take, and it's easier to actually build things again. For, I think it was, like you said, 10 to 15 years for a mine. An energy project alone is 5 to 6. And everyone wonders why our utilities or bills are going up because there's no energy out there. We don't have enough to supply the current demand. Data
Yeah.
centers, regardless.
Yeah, and you're right. When you see companies like NVIDIA doing well, I mean, it had a little bit of shakiness, but, all of these things, I didn't realize. I learned this yesterday because we had somebody else on talking about these mines. This phone right here, when it vibrates, it's two graphite magnets that are interacting that makes your phone vibrate. The things that I learned here from great guests like yourself is remarkable. So everything, this laptop that sits on my desk, this smartphone, all of these things that we surround ourselves with, AI, all the future technology, we have got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. The regulatory policies have to be reined in. And I'm not saying to sacrifice the water or the land or the air or the sanctity of our environment. I'm not talking about that, but I am talking about being smart about it. I mean, in California where they had those fires, 50,000 or more buildings burned, 4 have been rebuilt. 4. You can't have regulations like that to prevent progress, can you?
No, you can't. You can't go anywhere if you can't build. And right now, America can't build anything. It's a sad truth. And all we want to do, and I know, this is across both aisles. I think everyone's finally seeing the light. We have to clear the way so there's an ability to build things again. We can't have a house taking forever to be built. We can't take a power plant taking 5 to 6 years just to get approved and then built. People need a place to live. People need the energy to power it. And more
Yeah.
importantly, we need to stop giving our strategic competitors a leg up on us on top of these things.
So
We
I'm going to go
can't just
political
go to them.
here. I'm going to go a little political here because I think that there is no way on God's green earth, and America's greener than any place on God's green earth, that you can get these regulations reduced, streamlined, made sane, as long as the filibuster remains in place, because Democrats are never going to support this. They're going to support windmills and solar panels built in China primarily, by the way. The windmills primarily in Germany. But you cannot continue down this road with a filibuster in place. You can't. You've got to get some regulations removed. You got to streamline it. You got to be able to build mines, factories, houses, everything. What do you think is the best path forward?
Well, I'm not personally one for killing the filibuster just yet. I don't want to make that decision. Unfortunately, I don't have to. But at the same time, there is fortunately a little bit of an awareness. The Speed Act, for example, is getting through the committees pretty bipartisanly. It's got some support in the Senate as well. And the reality is, permitting reform, it impacts green projects just the same. It's not only hitting oil, it's not only hitting one or the other. Both sides are essentially understanding like we can't get the projects we want done with this in place. So until really the permitting process is fixed, it's going to stop everything. And that's probably why it has such a good chance of getting fixed right now. Everyone's losing. And the Democrats want their green energy. Republicans want to just build energy in general. So we finally have an opportunity to actually push this through. And hopefully there's enough that see that understanding and have that common sense to just make the process usable.
Yeah. The problem for me, and I've always been against getting rid of the filibuster until just recently, because I think that other than that, and I appreciate your position, but I don't think there's enough Democrats in the United States Senate that'll cross the aisle, except maybe Fetterman. He's the only one that seems to be, having some semblance of common sense. I don't see you getting there because they embrace these Green New Deal policies, which are terrible for America. America runs on vast quantities of cheap energy, and anything short of that, our economy will not run the way it's supposed to. And so we've got to make progress. And if they won't join us, well, there's some big priorities on the list. James, I'll give you the last word.
Well, I think we have a little more hope there for the energy side of things, especially on the left side of the aisle. Even in New York, they just approved a gas pipeline for the first time in God knows how long.
Yeah, I
So if
know.
they're doing that, the fear of affordability is kicking in. So I think there's actually some hope to get things done at the federal level. But
Hope you're
maybe I'm
right.
just
Yeah.
I'm an optimist. Who knows?
Well, I appreciate an optimist. It is the week of Thanksgiving. And look, they finally had to do something in the Northeast, in New England and so forth, because the price of electricity has gone through the roof. And they're in real trouble there with their constituents are seeing massive electric bills, as an example. James, Ron, thank you for being here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Greatly appreciated. From Americans for Prosperity, good friend of the program. I'll take a break and be right back.